real life drama. These stories came from you. If you want to submit a story, the link is down below. I'm still accepting some, so get those in if you have drama in your life. This first story comes from Crystal. So I don't know where to start, but I recently cut my best friend of 10 years out of my life as she chose to side with my recent ex-boyfriend of 7 months. I am currently 27, female. I started getting the feeling that maybe they were also talking during our relationship, but I have no proof of that. Always listen to your gut. She's almost ruined my reputation in my town, which is a small town of about 3,000 people, and is spreading lies about me, calling me a liar, a hooer, and other things. I have helped this girl with her narcissistic sister and with school, and I feel betrayed. We told each other almost everything and hung out often, and she would help me with my work as we are both artists and crafters. My ex has also been a problem as he's been trying to get me to talk to him and my ex-best friend to settle things, and he needs closure from our breakup. Reasons why we broke up varied, and according to him, it was unfair. I felt extremely uncomfortable around him, and he made such a big deal about things, especially with me hanging out with my guy friends and saying I was cheating on him, which is false. You don't want to be in that type of relationship. Trust me, I've been there. I'm extremely loyal to my friends and my partner. I hate the thought of cheating as I've been cheated on by my first ex-boyfriend, and he went back on his word. Been going on for months, and I am currently getting sick of both of them. I am now in a healthy, fun, and loving relationship, and it's been the best so far. Sorry if this is too short or long. I have a lot of life stories revolving around my life and experiences with dating and people in general. Don't apologize, it's what I wanted. Yeah, these people need to be cut. Snip them out of your life. You're on to bigger and better and happier times. You don't want to be in a relationship like that. There's nothing worse than someone constantly accusing you of cheating on them when you're literally not. I hate that. When they make you out to be a cheater, it's like, but I'm not. So, am I a cheater or are you insecure? Which one is it? Next story wants to be left anonymous. I'll start off by saying I have a beautiful daughter at the age of 5, and she's always been the sweetest, most caring girl I've ever met, even though the stuff she's seen me go through. Her father, now incarcerated, and his mother always tried to play the victim card when anything went wrong in their life, and always tried to blame me. It started when I was 7 to 8 months pregnant, and her father had cheated on me numerous times, online and in person, in my car, out of all places. There was a woman that he showed me in the hospital when I was giving birth to our daughter that he was supposedly going to be blocking, but turns out that never happened. He just told me that to make me feel secure, I suppose. Well, a month and 2 days till around, and we were going to a party for a friend, and needless to say, we had a lot of fun and got incredibly drunk. I have no idea how we got home that night, but I woke up in my bed next to him. His mom had to go to work, so had woken us up around 6 in the morning to have him move the car, and I took the baby back to sleep with me as I was going to lay my head back down and rest with my child. Alarms went off in my head, and before I knew it, I had his phone off. That gut feeling that's telling you to check his phone. He had no password, and the screen opened up to a surprising amount of pictures and messages from the woman in the hospital. The amount of rage that was inside my body was radiating out profusely. I set my baby down in a secure spot, covered her up, and closed the door. I was distraught and confused when I saw the numerous amounts of naked pictures and the most disturbing messages I had read from the two of them combined. When he came back into the house, I had planned on asking him in a calm manner what his deal was, but instead I saw red. And shoved his phone in his face and asked him what the F his problem was. He, as usual, gave me the runaround saying, I don't know what you're talking about, and why are you going through my phone? And got loud with me, yelling and punching walls, then decided to whip out his, whoa, what? Then decided to whip out his pew-pew and bang it on his head, saying the scariest thing I've heard come out of his mouth. I'm going to get out of here before I do something I regret. Okay. I think you should do that. And in my eyes, I saw it as a threat. Oh, yeah. Me in the house, still uncontrollable sobbing. I called my cousin and needed her to just listen to what had just happened, and she came over to help me pack my things and leave. As I'm walking out of the house with some of my last things I needed, I see him walking back up to the porch, noticing that my stuff was all packed and all I had left was to get my 1-month-old daughter. He starts sobbing and breaking down, telling me that he will do better, and I couldn't even find the power to look him in the eyes. The constant calls and texts that I got from him were overwhelming, and I was just trying to find something to clear my head. Thankfully, my cousin, even after multiple times of going back and forth with him, I was a stay-at-home mom and had no job, so I was very dependent on him, and he had known it. She always stayed and helped me when I needed her, and I am so grateful to have her in my life. I am in the present time done with that situation, have full custody of my beautiful daughter, and have a full-time job that is a passion of mine, and will go back to school soon to become a BCBA. Also, just wanted to note, I love your videos and keep up with every single one of them. You are definitely a highlight to my week when I'm feeling down. Okay, I'm gonna cry. I'll cry. I'm not kidding. I'll literally cry. When I'm feeling down and get to watch you. Thank you for being a great human. Stay classy, stay sassy. My neighbor's interrupting this very sweet moment for me. First of all, thank you, my whole heart. Second of all, so happy that you're safe and out of that situation and you left and never looked back. And look at where your life is now. Exactly where it deserves to be. Next story comes from Marcy. I love that name. My best friend ghosted me when I got cancer. Oh my gosh. A little bit of history to start out. I've had the same two best friends, Bethany and Sadie, for the past 22 years. The three of us used to be very close, but they had a falling out about 10 years ago and don't talk as much as they used to, but both are still very close to me. Bethany and her spouse and children moved a couple states away about 8 years ago, but we kept in decent touch. I don't talk to either of them on a super regular basis because we're all in our late 30s now and life gets busy, but we all know what we mean to each other. Bethany is one of those people that you just feel tied to on an emotional level no matter what happens, like a soulmate. They're in your life for better or for worse. She has a history of going off the radar sometimes when she's feeling overwhelmed. For example, several years ago, she broke up with her boyfriend a couple weeks before I got engaged and subsequently disappeared for 2 months. I wasn't even able to tell her or ask her to be in my wedding for that span of time. I understood because I figured it was hard for her to be happy for me when she was mourning her own relationship. I still think she could have showed up for you, but that's just my personal opinion. Sadie, on the other hand, is always there. She has a big personality and we have more instances where we butt heads than I have ever had with Bethany, but we're always able to make it work and get past it. I know I can rely on her in a crisis. Back to now. In the middle of December, I had an ultrasound done on my protrusion in my abdomen. The report afterwards expressed the possibility of cancer. No, I'll cry. I don't want to cry. I really don't want to cry today. I didn't say anything to them until I got a follow-up CT that suspected the same thing. Both of them seemed pretty upset, which surprised me because there was no official diagnosis yet. I didn't expect them to worry so much until we knew for sure, and made me feel incredibly guilty for not just waiting. Sadie began ramping up her efforts to keep in touch, dropping me texts here and there to let me know she was thinking of me, etc. Bethany did at first, but in mid-January when I got the official diagnosis, I'm not even going to pretend I know how to pronounce that, but it is a malignant soft tissue tumor in the abdomen. Things changed a bit. At first, she kept saying she was going to come back to her home state to be there for me during the surgery and recovery, despite how many times I told her I would never expect that big of a commitment. She has 2 children, an ex-spouse to coordinate the kids with, a new boyfriend, and a full-time job in her state. Yes, that would be a lot. She kept saying, no, I'll be there, which I believed because she had done the same thing for her mom several times a couple years prior. She had also made a day trip about a year ago for a friend's funeral. But then, radio silence. I texted her a couple times to ask her if she still planned on coming and continued to tell her there was no pressure, but that I'd love to see her face. Sadie also asked her about it and she had offered her a place to stay when in town. She didn't reply until the night before my surgery, saying she would still be coming but wouldn't be able to get there until a month later. She gave me a date she was aiming for. I was a little sad, but I understood. I didn't reply to the text because I didn't even read it until the morning of my surgery, when I wasn't responding to anyone because there was just way too much happening. I said that weird, happening. The surgery was successful. Okay, I'm not gonna cry. This is happy news. I'm not gonna cry. They removed the 13-pound. Oh, that's like a really big baby. And one of my kidneys. Oh my God. But we're able to spare the other surrounding organs. Okay. I mean, it's good news out of the negative news. When the pathology report came back a couple weeks later, it outlined that all of the margins they tested around the tumor were negative, which is great news. My mom was texting Sadie and Bethany the whole time to give them updates. Bethany never replied to her. Sadie came to visit me in the hospital and brought me dinner and a coffee a couple times since I've been home. She consistently checks in on me and asks me if I need anything else. Bethany has not texted me or called me since the day before my surgery. I don't want to be the one to say it, but are we sure Bethany's a good friend? Because I'll be damned if my friend who I live in a different city than my hometown. I'll be damned if I have surgery to remove cancer and my friends don't, hey, in the least, hey, how you feeling? Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe there's more to the story. Maybe, I don't know. But in my defense, I wasn't able to be on my phone much the first couple of weeks. She could have texted or called. You take for granted how much you can rest your arms and wrists on your torso when you play on your phone. I had an incision spanning from my sternum to my pubis, so I really couldn't do much for long. Oh, you poor thing. All this to say it was uncomfortable to look at my phone for more than a minute or two. The more time passed, the more disappointed I was starting to get and the less inclined I was to make the first move. You shouldn't have to make the first move. To be fair, I was sad that she had not come to visit, but I was not upset with her for it. But not even reaching out to me, it just seemed so strange. I thought maybe she was feeling triggered because of the fact her mother passed of cancer a couple years ago, so I kept telling myself to give her time. A month passed. Okay, you were being understanding. Maybe there's more, maybe she's going through something. The date she had given me started approaching and I didn't hear from her. Sadie also reached out to her a couple times asking if she needed a place to stay. No reply. And then all of the pictures began pouring in on Facebook. Her new boyfriend tags her in literally everything. They were out of town at a concert. 2 days before, she had said she was coming to see me. I still tried to reason that maybe they would be killing two birds with one stone and swinging through this on the way home, but they did not. In fact, they were at another concert in a different state the day she had said she would be there. To be clear, I'm not mad she didn't come. You're better than I. I understand she works, has children, and has to coordinate childcare stuff with her ex, but to not reach out all this time, to not tell me she wouldn't be able to make it, to go to a concert instead and not even say anything. To make things worse, the concert was our favorite band, a band that has been very special to us for years. Sadie is furious. Before I continue, I need a sip of water, because my throat is dying over here, okay? Grab your beverage of choice. Mine is water. Take a sip of water though. You need it. It's good for you. Cheers. Hope you're having a good day. She sent her a text message basically asking her where she has been and telling her it's unacceptable that she disappeared for this. She didn't reply. I talked to Bethany's ex, which maybe makes me an a-hole, to ask if she had mentioned anything about coming to see me and what to do about the kids. Her ex said no. A few days after the date Bethany had said she'd be here, I decided to text her too. I feel like I was kind, but honest. I told her how hurt I felt that she hadn't been in touch, how I've been making excuses for her for years, and now I'm just tired of feeling like I'm not important unless it's convenient for her. I'm happy you're feeling that way because that's how I was feeling reading this. How I love her no matter what, but I just don't know what to do anymore. She didn't reply. Okay. About a month later, I texted again and just said, it breaks my heart that you didn't respond to this. She texted back, sounds like you already made up your mind. I've gone through so much this year, I just don't have the fight in me. When I tell you I saw red, how dare she turn this around on me? It's not about her this time. We're not going to compete about who the bigger victim is. Also, to my knowledge, she has not been going through anything super dire outside of what I already explained. So I don't even know what she means about going through a lot this year. And if there is something she didn't tell me, like maybe she was trying not to burden me, then she doesn't know me at all. I've never once turned her away when she needed me. We're supposed to lean on each other. I've left wondering if I did something to deserve this, even though in my heart, I feel that I didn't. It's not like I didn't have a good support system with my husband, my mother, Sadie, and my other friends. I feel guilty for holding it against her, but I can't help it. I have dealt with her doing this for so long that I don't know if I can forgive it this time. I sent her a text a few months later telling her I was done. I told her she was selfish and we could never work through this. I'm going to include the "my feelings are hurt" text as well as the breakup text I sent to her at the bottom of this post in case you're curious. I'm just so sad and needed to put my feelings somewhere. Is this on me? Am I not allowing her enough grace? Thank you for reading. All right, so the text to Bethany, we're on March 2024. I don't even know how to start this. This is hard. Nothing I ever set out to do has ever been or will be with the intention of hurting you. I hope you know that. I'm just so exhausted from everything that I don't even have the energy to be upset. I'm just feeling kind of numb. It wasn't that you didn't come up here, it was that you kept saying you would be here, but didn't communicate with me whenever you found out that you couldn't. It's that I haven't heard from you since the day before my surgery. I have colleagues reaching out to me on the regular, but not my best friend. You didn't have to be here to be here. Kind of hurt extra that you were seeing my favorite band too, of all bands. Like I had to be on your mind leading up to this, right? I just feel like I've spent years defending these moments to people that I know sometimes when you get triggered, you pull away. That I have always tried to give you the space for that. I have always loved you through it, and I knew this was going to be hard for you because of your mom. And I feel guilty even expressing my feelings because even at this exact moment, my instinct is that something must be going horribly wrong in your life and that you need some grace. But I don't know that I have enough to give. This was a big deal for me too. This was the scariest thing I've ever done. I really needed you, not necessarily in person because I know that's not always realistic, but I needed you to communicate with me. To just tell me that you were thinking of me, or even tell me you felt triggered and that you needed time. I just don't know what to do or say or how to move forward, if there is even a path for that. I can honestly say I've never felt so let down in my life, and I'm not saying that to hurt you, I'm just speaking my truth as I feel it. I love you. I'll always love you, no matter what happens, and I hope you're doing okay. That was beautiful. April 2021. Your text to Bethany reads, "The fact that you have not responded breaks my heart. I guess that's that. Bethany says, you made up your mind. I've been through so goddamn much this year. I don't have the fight in me." August of 2024, you say, "You know, I've sat on this for months waiting to calm down before I responded, but I haven't calmed down. I'm still so incredibly angry. Your Blaze response making it about yourself was the nail in the coffin. How dare you turn it around and make yourself the victim of this one? We're not competing for who had it worse this year, and if we were, I would win this one and you know it. Unless there's something going on that I don't know about, how could I possibly? You stopped talking to me in February. First of all, let it be known that I did not make my choice. You made it for me. I was reaching out to see if there was something to fix and you just shot me down. The fact that after 22 years you can just so easily throw in the towel at the first threat of taking some accountability is astonishing. I don't know why I'm surprised. 90% of our friendship has always been me apologizing first. But I guess I just thought that when push came to shove, I would mean more to you than this. Second of all, I thought after a friend passed, you wanted to cherish your remaining friendships. You did the opposite with me. I thought it would be different. But for years, our friendship has been you running and me chasing. You have your cycles where you shut down and go off the grid, and when I need you, I can't get in touch with you. When I got engaged, you bailed. When my husband was deployed to Afghanistan, we just pretended it wasn't happening because the conversations were too heavy. When I had 2 miscarriages last year, you conveniently missed those text messages. Okay, maybe we should have left Bethany's friendship a long time ago. Yes, you were there for the ectopic, but I always felt like it was more because you were dating my husband's brother than actually reaching out just to check on me. And even while I was going through it, I was still checking in regularly about your mom because I knew you needed me. Then when I got cancer, you stopped responding to my messages and don't try to initiate a single conversation for weeks. And when I tell you how hurt I am and give you a window to explain your side and how you're feeling, you turn it back on me? Yeah, that's called manipulation. What the hell did I do to deserve any of this? I know I'm not perfect, but I've always tried to fix what I break. But how long ago would we have stopped being friends if I didn't continue reaching out to fix things? People have been telling me for years that our friendship is lopsided at the best of times, but I guess it took me a while to see it. Your life has been a series of events where everyone else wrongs you, but somehow none of the blame ever touches you. I had cancer, Bethany, and this kind comes back 40% of the time. It's probably going to be a battle I fight for the rest of my life. And I just don't have time to spend on people who can't be bothered to spend any on me. We don't come back from this one. I just hope your life today is worth it. You know, I'm angry with Bethany's behavior, but also this breaks my heart because friendship breakups are awful. Awful. It's a different kind of pain. Losing a friend is very, very hard, even if they have wronged you. Like, you're angry, but you're also devastated because you're mourning, you know, someone you loved and someone you cared for. And I really hope that it doesn't come back and that you have full recovery from here on out for the rest of your life. Those were kisses. I don't know why I made eating sounds, but that was more the sound I was going for. The next story comes from Jane. Hi people, I would like to share some parts of my family drama with you. Be forewarned, it's like a Greek tragedy up in here. And it's long. I was raised in a big house with my parents, siblings, grandparents, aunt, uncle, and cousins. Why do I feel like that'd be so much fun? We also had an au pair and her child for a while, which made for a madhouse. Yeah, that could be a little bit crazy at times, I'm sure. My grandfather is a famous singer in my home country. Shortly after I was born, he moved in with his other woman with us in a separate house at the end of the garden. Oh my God, your life is like a movie already. I grew up with her around, so I think of her as family. In spite of this non-traditional setting, we led a life envied by everyone, and for a long time. I thought I was happy. We were given everything, supposedly, and were extremely privileged. But my grandfather is a narcissist, a racist, a homophobic control freak. He made everyone around him angry and depressed, and nobody could say anything. Okay, so we had someone very toxic in this madhouse that you say. Everyone around him enabled him, and we had fans around us all the time telling us how amazing he is. First, my aunt and uncle moved across the globe and my cousin and I were heartbroken, although we would meet every summer. Then his second wife got tired of his escapades and tried to unalive herself when I was 14 because he had started a relationship with another woman who was barely 18 at the time. Oh my God, this really is a movie plot. I'm so sorry that this is your real life. 4 years later, at 18, I moved to a different country, but it took me 25 years to serve my emotional ties. Then, my grandfather asked my father for 35 years worth of back rent for allowing us to live in that house rent-free. The house was bought and we paid for everything else. My grandma moved to their house in another part of the country and he hardly ever visited, which was fine by everyone. Eventually, he moved in with his new girlfriend without divorcing my grandmother because he's a good Christian. Our relationship after that consisted of him calling me for 2 hours every other week to spew hatred and announce his outrageous theories on life, which left me triggered and anxiety-ridden for 2 days. Oh my God, you poor thing. 2 years ago, my grandma died. She made it to 96, but she was larger than life and we all miss her. My grandfather didn't want to pay a dime for food and drinks at the funeral. That's okay, the rest of us happily paid for it. And he made a horrible speech all about himself that lasted 30 minutes. Luckily, I had one prepared too, and it was awesome. A few days after that, he goes on TV and announces he's getting married to his girlfriend. I learned of this not by his mouth, but through friends who had seen the news on the internet. In our country, he's famous for being a loving family man, a patriarch, haha, and everyone thinks he puts his family first. So he goes on TV and declares his joy and happiness and how amazing his life is. What his fans fail to see is, I stopped talking to him right before his wedding and I'm still paying from the emotional scars of my upbringing. My mom is totally neurotic and everyone's running away from her. My brother is emotionally stunted and unavailable. My sister and I moved to different countries. Her brother is a drug addict. He's an amazing guy, but his self-esteem is gone. This all happened within months of the wedding. That's it. Next time, if you're interested, I can tell you about my grandfather's older brother who had 8 children with 7 different women. Also a good Christian, the cherry on top, and ended up dying at the hands of one of his granddaughters, although this is still under investigation. Oh my God, please tell me that story. This really does feel like a Greek tragedy. And I know you're keeping it private. I'm not gonna dig for who this person is, but of course we're all wondering, being like, who is it? Tell us who it is. But I won't pry. What I will say is, it's just proof that you never know what someone's like behind closed doors. Even the biggest celebrities you might idolize, you have no idea what they're doing back at home. Thanks for everyone who submitted the stories. You can submit in the link down below. Stay classy out there, stay sassy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.